Yep, that's what I was waiting for. Yep. We recording right now, huh? Okay. I was just making sure. I thought you'd give me like a test class.
I'm over here looking at him trying to figure out what is supposed to happen. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Black Coast Podcast. It's your boy Community Cal. Today we got a special guest. We have Miss Jamaica Echols. Hey. Yeah, I wish there was a crowd, but it's all good. That's what I was expecting, but so Jamaica, how you doing? I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. Right now I'm in a transformation, stage of my life. So I'm just kind of like getting that together, getting through that transition. But I'm good overall.
Okay, good. We wanted you here like maybe like a year ago.
I know.
Turn this down. What happened?
No, I did not. I think it was a scheduling situation. They'll try to put me on Front Street now.
I would.
Bring us the receipts.
I think what the actual reason was, I think it was transitioning to a new job, because you said you was software development, then now you're doing iOS development.
It was something. Look, it was. I will pull up the receipts to see what I said.
We can do that.
No, but I think it was timing, point blank timing.
Well,
but
cool.
Now we're here.
You're here now, and that's what I like to see.
Yeah.
So, tell me about, since you did transition to a new job, tell me about it, like iOS development.
So, mobile development in its entirety is a whole nother beast. Professionally, I've been doing this for a year in January. So when January hit, I've had my year as an iOS dev. So, are you ready? So, I still feel like I'm learning so much more, even though I've been developing, as full stack development for about 3 years prior. It's still like I'm learning something new. Sure, certain things like connect really fast because I know what to do with languages foundationally. But when it comes to mobile, man, struggle bus. I'm on it, okay? But it's good. Like, I still feel happy about it. I still like what I do, even though like I'm learning so much. Like, even in this year, I've learned a lot, but I still know that there's a vast majority of stuff that I still have to learn. But I think, me loving mobile development, loving, creating for iOS specifically, is something that I'm cool with. I love doing it. I like looking at my phone, looking at like what I'm building. It's way more intimate than looking at a website for me. So, yeah.
So you feel like a sense of I guess like success when you see your app.
Yeah, you're just like well, look at this thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, I'm on my phone all the time. So for me to create something that's on a phone and just like the click of a button, it's at your hands, is a process that I really like. Okay. So, you don't have to just log on to a computer or anything for other stuff. Like, sure, it's cool for web pages and stuff, but like, I don't have a love for it like I do mobile development.
Okay, that's what's up. I actually, it was funny. Me, Trev, Glenn, and some other people. We was actually working on a mobile app. It was supposed to be like for finding black restaurant stores, just all black businesses, not like Greenwood, but mobile. Yeah. We was working on something like that, but we was using React Native. It was a little different, but it was fun while it lasted. Yeah, we still working on it. Yeah.
Struggle.
Why was it a struggle? What was
the biggest struggle was getting, it was the Android. It was the Android.
Okay.
Because we had to run Android Studio as well as, work on a project. And we were just going through a lot of complications with that. Yeah. But it was fun.
The Gradle deals.
Dang, look, see, you could tell who was more affected than the other. But hey, I had fun. I had fun.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing with cross-platform languages. I think they are really good to spin up something real fast, right? Because if you start using native languages, it takes a little bit longer. Plus, you got to find that person who knows that language right off the bat. Like, there's not a lot of mobile developers, that know either Kotlin, Java, or something, and can spin up an Android app, or Swift. There's not a lot of Swift developers in Nashville in general. You know what I'm saying?
I ask you about that too, because that's what you're learning now.
Yes.
To make apps. How is that? Like, just learning? Is it totally different, or is it kind of like most of the other?
So Swift in itself is not. It kind of reminds me of C#.
Oh.
In a sense that it's like a structured language, that it's strongly typed. Versus like a Python or something where it's kind of loosey-goosey. Swift is a lot more robust. It has really cool features and stuff. That's not the part that you need to worry about, though. It's the UI kit. It's the iOS fundamentals of, creating an app that you have to really worry about. You have to worry about the protocols, whereas some languages, class-based languages such as C# is, where Swift iOS UI kit is delegate protocols, and that's a whole nother beast that I'm still trying to, be solid on that. I think I am somewhat, but then when I think too hard about it, I'm like, oh shit, what do I do? You know what I'm saying? I don't know what's going on, but it's a different beast. It's a different beast. But if you do like what you do, it's one of those things that you can just pick up on. It's just training, really. Okay. Yeah. More practice. That's all.
Man, I think that's something I never want to get into. Because
it's scary.
UI. When I hear about UI, it's just that's not me.
I think it's just how you are taught it. When I was going through trying to figure out how to learn Swift myself, there wasn't a lot of straightforward answers. They were it's so much information out there that you can go down in that rabbit hole. And so I needed something structured on what I need to do and how I need to do it. And so I actually got into it because I went on Udacity and I went through their course. I didn't finish the course because I was like, man, forget this. I need to go ahead and just start finding a job ASAP. But I learned what I needed to learn, and then I started when I got on the job, my lead developer is he's a godsend. Love this guy. Shout out Casey, if you see this.
Yeah, shout out to you.
But he helped me kind of tailor a lot of my learning with what I was doing and what's the correct way on how you should learn something. Okay. So if it wasn't for him, I think I'd probably still be out there learning how to do a UI using Interface Builder, which is hard, right? When you first learn mobile development for iOS, you have to they tell you to use the Interface Builder. And that's really hard because you deal with constraints. You got to figure out the layout of where your buttons are going and stuff like that. And that's super tedious, and that is intimidating for a lot of people. So for me, when I got into my position, my lead developer was like, we don't do that. We don't use Interface Builder at all. We use programmatic UI, which is something a lot of developers use to begin with. They know how to code, their views through the language, and not some type of GUI to where they're just clicking and dragging and doing all that stuff. So yeah, man, it's still a learning situation going on. But
it's much easier than you expected now, right?
I wouldn't say it's easy. Well, maybe it's easy because I'm starting to know, have a solid foundation for a lot of the things. I still feel like I have imposter syndrome and stuff, so I wouldn't say it's easier. I'm just comfortable with what it is and knowing that I have a lot of stuff to go to, even though I've passed the stuff that was hard, right?
It's always something new.
Yeah, it's always something new. And so when I was doing C#, I think it was a point where I was like, I don't feel like learning much, you know what I'm saying? Plus it's a language that wasn't, it was updating a little bit, but it wasn't updating enough. Whereas Swift and iOS, there's a new freaking iOS every year. So you have to learn about what's going on. Yes, like, you know, we have iOS 16 now, right? We have to know about those new things every year that they come out. Make sure it's not a breaking change. Make sure that we update that app. And I like that because it puts me on my toes to like learn something else. And sometimes, you know, you don't have to change the app depending on like what iOS is out or something, because it's not a breaking change. But still, you have to learn what's out there.
Right.
So
because I know with most of these languages, something is always new. Like, you know, React, now people using React hooks.
Yep.
What else? There's I don't even think people use Webpacks anymore. You know what I'm saying? I think we use that for like maybe one.
Don't even give me. I don't even know, man. Like it's crazy because even as a junior instructor, you know, teaching at NSS, it's still, you know, I'm teaching C#. And then when we get to their capstone season or their simulated work environment, we introduce React again. And so for me, it's hard because like I have to relearn React somewhat every 6 months to help them.
Because always something changes.
Always something changed. Like every cohort, like I remember we had to learn hooks because when I went through NSS, I learned, you know, component-based React. And now it's functional and then it's with hooks. And I was like, oh my, how am I supposed to do this? You know what I'm saying? So, but it's not, you know, as constant, you know what I'm saying? Whereas like iOS, they have a whole nother thing that they're creating right now, right?
Damn.
That's probably 2 years from now that will probably come out. So it's just one of those rapid learning things that you have to do.
Yeah.
But I like it because I love my phone. I'm on my phone all the time. So
yeah, I think a lot of us in this room on the phone all the time.
Yeah.
It's addictive at this point. You know, going to a social media site, checking it. I'm actually I'm about to give myself a timer because talking to a good friend Glenn, he told me like, you know, like
stepping away.
Yeah, and then when you go to like sleep and wake up, your phone should be the first thing you're on. Like,
I know, it's so hard.
5 minutes away, yeah.
It's so hard. My phone is under my pillow, and I need to get I need to like have it in the living room or something. Like I don't want to wake up.
I want to do that, but I need a clock first. I need a clock in my room first.
Yep.
I've been so dependent on using my phone to tell me what time it is.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely getting a clock, and then I'm gonna get a timer because when I wake up, it's just gonna tell me, all right, 45 minutes. What I need to do: read, meditate, something. You know, other than getting on the phone.
I know it's a one of those things that you got to put boundaries up.
Yes.
For even though I love technology, I do see the effects that it has on us as humans, and like just the constant visuals that we need, the you know, stimulation, we need to stop, really.
Man, so check this out. I was looking at a podcast earlier, watching it on TV, and they showed like people in the back room. You know, people like maybe they're people or some of the people that work on the podcast. Tell me why like the majority of them were on their phones just doing like that.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I even notice by myself that like if I'm watching a show or movie, so I get on my phone, like, you know what I'm saying?
I'm usually researching what was said in the movie or the TV show, and I'm like,
Instagram.
What is this?
I wish I was doing that, because that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? But I'd be like, let me see who likes something. You know what I'm saying? Like, I might get a notification, and it just gets me.
Yeah. I usually try to put my notifications on silent. I've come to a point where I'm like annoyed by notifications. So I'm just like, let me put do not disturb on, or just like, let me turn this setting off, because I can't, I'm good.
You know what, like, since I run a lot of the Black Hole social medias, so I seem to be on there a lot, and I'm now realizing that I need to automate everything. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm on here too much. I'm just gonna make a post.
Yeah.
What this person say? Oh no, somebody got arrested. Oh, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like, you do. You need like, they have that, you know, system to where you can like put one tweet or like whatever post on all your platforms.
Yeah, and
so
I'm about to pay for it, because at first I wasn't, because I'm using the Meta Business Center for free, and I was like, I'm kind of cheap when it comes to stuff like that. Like, I don't want to pay no $20 to use automation, but now I know I kind of need it.
Yeah. Just pay for it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna start being cheap and pay for it because like
You need your time.
I need all my time. Because now that I got a kid,
Yeah.
my time for it. Every time I be trying to post something, pick me up or come play with me. And I'm like, all right, here I come. So
Yeah.
I feel like if I could automate it a week in advance,
Or delegate that task to somebody.
I do.
Get like a content manager or something.
I need to.
That's probably what they paid them to do the job.
Yeah, I guess sometimes I like to be hands-on. Sometimes,
Yeah.
I think that's one of my things because even if I get the job away, I might be hitting them. What you doing? You posting something like what are you posting?
Part of being a good leader is delegating and letting them do it and trusting them. Trust that you chose the right person to do the job to where you don't have to like be micromanaging them.
That's true, and I don't want to be that person.
Right. It's so easy to do that, right?
It is.
I don't trust nobody to do this.
Man, what? Like I might be out there and be like, hey, I might even make it seem cool. What you up to?
Let me slide in this request. Are you doing this?
Man, right? I'm like, I just want to know, no big deal, but it is a big deal, but no big deal.
It's your baby too. I mean, you've created such a great, community.
I appreciate it.
Like seriously, being able to connect with so many Black techies in this area is really beautiful. The ease to network is there. The ease to talk about like things because we have an issue sometimes that we all can like relate to, and just like having fun too with the same people. Like we have these events and a lot of the people are coming back because they like everyone, because we're cool, calm, collective.
Right.
It's a great, community that you have built. So
I appreciate that.
Keep knowing that you're doing great.
Man, I really want to give kudos to y'all as well because like I couldn't have done it without y'all. Like, y'all keep coming, and another thing, you on my events team and you help me, hold it down for events. Like I couldn't think of all them events by myself.
Hey, I mean, as a team, as an events team, we try, but that's the thing with choosing the right people that are willing, to do these tasks, and like you get greatness from that, different perspectives, stuff like that. So we're all here.
That's what I like. I appreciate that y'all are taking the time to help out with stuff like that because like I was doing it like. In the beginning, it was kind of me and Glenn and Trev, like we were just kind of like getting our shit together, but it was like we were so limited. So we needed like more perspectives on these ideas to get like, just better events out as well. So,
plus it was getting bigger, so you kind of needed to have more people do those tasks for you. So that's what we're here for, man. Well, at least physically I won't be,
but you be there, virtually and spiritually, what I'm saying? I ain't gonna forget about you, girl.
No, I'm definitely planning to come back, especially for like big things, big events that are gonna be like our cornerstone events, like the sweater party, the ugly sweater party.
Oh yeah.
That's a staple for us.
It is.
Gotta have that. Coming back for it. So
ugly sweater party. Pics coming soon. You know what I'm saying?
So those type of events we want to make sure that we like have staples for them.
Right.
And I'll come back for those, make sure that I'm a part of it some way that I can. In any type of virtual event, since we are in a virtual, world now.
We are.
Make sure we utilize that a lot more.
I'm curious, how did you feel like because 2020 was when everything became virtual. Like, what was your expectations during the pandemic?
In regards to like using, virtual spaces or
since when everything went virtual, like okay, they told you go home. Work
I was happy.
You was happy. But was you expecting it to be as long as it didn't even last that long. It lasted maybe like a year and a half or something.
So I think they wanted us back. I actually left the job. So it started March, right? Like that's when it happened, and then they wanted us back maybe like July. I think people were coming back. I was leaving in August of that year, and so I said deuces.
I ain't coming back nowhere.
I wasn't coming back. I didn't know that it was gonna go on for so long. But the way Tennessee was handling things, I was like, oh, they're gonna be back in office ASAP.
Right.
Right. I am very happy though that my manager at the time was open to letting me stay at home, that he was understanding my concern at that time, how I was like, I don't want to be around people,
Right.
and so he honored that. And I was like, I was cool with it. I was totally fine with being at home, virtual. I thought it worked very well, because at that time I actually wasn't talking to many people. I was talking to like one coworker, and me and her went to lunch every day. We talked every day. So it was sure I missed her. Like we had a really good relationship, but like everyone else, I wasn't really talking to them. And like if I needed to call them now, it was perfect because just hit up a Zoom instead of going to their cubicle and them giving me a side eye and being like, "What do you want?" You know what I'm saying? Like, so I like it. Less dealing with people's vibes was pretty good, and like now you can just talk to people like, hey, shoot them a message, and like it's no emotion, it's just like, hey, I need help, let's hop on a Zoom and go from there. Perfect.
Man,
Piece of cake.
I like it that way too, because it's like when I was working in the office, and this was before I had like actual engineering job, like I didn't like them, like and maybe it's
Seriously?
I don't want to say that, but I think it was just we just didn't mesh well because like they were just too different. That's why I always like I was always in the community doing stuff because it was like I need to be around people who kind of get me as well, and then kind of understand like certain plights that I go through, because it's like I can't say this to y'all exactly.
Right.
It will come off.
You want to be yourself authentically,
Exactly.
respectfully,
Exactly.
and not have to feel shamed about like how you feel, or it's a cultural fit, really. That's all that you were looking for.
It was culture fit, yeah.
And
Found that in the
you
Black
can't.
Rose.
Yeah, that's what we needed. We needed
Yeah.
that. I mean, now I'm very happy that the position that I'm in, I have a very small team and only work with like one other developer. That's my lead, Casey, and we it's only 2 of us on the team, and then we have a larger team of like the company. I think it's like maybe 8 Americans or US based people, and then everyone is outsourced, so their timing their time zones are different than ours, and so we're all able to communicate when they're asleep and stuff like that. But it's a very small team and they're pretty cool, but like me and my lead dev, culture perfect. Even though like he's not black by any means, but he's just like really cool, and like we vibe very well. Like I can be myself with him and he can be himself with me, and we talk about dogs because we both have dogs. We talk about like food, we talk about things that are like going on that are like work friendly and stuff. But I go hang out with him, you know what I'm saying? Like we have times where we're just chilling together. But we're really cool, and so I'm very blessed to have that, which is something that I manifested because I was like, look, I need to go into a company that has this type of team dynamic, because I was scarred for my first job.
Oh,
Listen.
Ooh, gotta take a sip on that. I'll take
It was, I had a lead, quintessential lead, who did not want to help. And he made me feel like I was pestering him. He made me feel like, he just was not what you need as a lead. As a junior, I need a lead who's going to be willing to help me, not one who's going to make me feel like I'm pestering him. Like, why are you doing that?
I feel 100% on that, because I was at a job. Well, I'm still at the job, but in the beginning, there were some people that worked on my team where my manager told me, he said, if you got any questions, just ask. And I was like, just you? He said, anybody. So I'm like, okay, cool. So when I hit up some people, it was cool. Maybe the first few days, the next week, I hit them up, and I'm waiting for like maybe 5 minutes. Like, okay, he usually answers around this time. I was like, okay, maybe he's busy. 30 minutes. Like, dang, he's kind of busy. Really busy today. An hour.
Oh no.
Then it hour became 2 hours. And I'm like, oh,
was the receipt on there?
Oh yeah, it was.
See?
It was.
We got a problem.
Yeah, and I was gonna trip because like I try to give people their time, but it was like an hour to like 2 hours, and he's like, oh my bad, I was busy, and then he asked me, did I do this? And I'm like, that's the first thing you normally do when you do it. So I guess he just didn't really want to. I felt like he didn't want to answer me because it kept becoming like that, and I had to like start asking other people. But like he was usually my go-to guy at 1st, and then I had to like just kind of move around.
See,
Yeah.
I feel like virtual workspaces should be super easy, make things super easy to communicate.
Right.
You have Teams, Slack, whatever messaging that you have. Shoot someone a message. Be like, hey, I need help. Oh, I read that message. I can't help you right now, but I can in so many hours or so many minutes later, right? Acknowledge it. Should be simple, right? Just acknowledge them and be like, hey, I'm gonna reach out to you. I'm gonna hit you back in X amount of time, right? And then if you can't, you can do a Zoom or a Teams meeting or whatever. There's like so many ways to communicate with someone. I don't understand why people take the long route to like not talk to anybody.
It doesn't even have to be like that.
It doesn't. It could be simple.
It could be.
It's gonna all be so simple.
Yeah.
But you rather make it hard.
hard on somebody. But I think that's what the pandemic, I was working from home, kind of created. Like communication is kind of off because in the office, if I was working with you, I'd be like, hey, Jamaica, what's wrong? You probably be like, oh, what's the syntax here?
Yeah.
And I go, oh, thank, appreciate it. That it could have been like 2 minutes or something.
Could have.
But now if I hit you up virtually, and you might be like, oh, I really don't want to talk to him right now. You know what I'm saying? It could be 30. You know what I'm saying?
See, I don't like that. So we have that in our cohort, this current cohort that I'm teaching, and I don't think they realize that communication Slack is your biggest friend. Y'all are all remote, so when somebody responds, your notifications need to be on first, especially during class.
Right.
I don't see why they should be off.
So
that's the only way. Y'all not even in class. How are you gonna know if anything's happening if you're not, checking your messages?
Right.
And I'm not saying check them every time. I'm just saying check them in class during the time that you're learning. Right? Because somebody can hit you up, ask you for anything, and you need to be responsive to that. When we send out a group message, y'all need to be looking at that and because that's the only way that we know that y'all understood what we just said, is because we put it in the channel. That's your only mode of communication.
And I kind of wanted to ask you about that, because I'm gonna change it up a little bit.
Yeah.
You are now teaching at NSS, but you went to NSS. So how do you feel about from once becoming a student to the teacher now?
I've been doing it for 6 cohorts now, so like.
I've been doing it for a minute.
Yeah. It's. So I went through NSS as a day student, and teaching as a night student. Teaching night students it's like night and day, literally. Because one, we don't see the students all the time. When I was going through NSS, I had a very great experience. I was, at the school from 9 to 4 with my peers all the time. We were hanging out tough. I was, I knew everybody in the school at that time. It was like 3-4 cohorts. And it was like, it was a struggle bus, but it was also pretty fun knowing things, like learning things all the time. And interacting with our instructors. Now, like, it's pretty nice I like looking at helping the night cohort because I've been in their place in a sense of like learning new things, learning this curriculum. We know what you guys are going through. We know the struggles of like if you don't understand something, if you feel imposter syndrome, if you feel like you just can't get it. You know what I'm saying? Like I like being able to give my advice and my experience, even though it is like day and night because they are working, they're going to school, they're doing a bunch of stuff, they have families. And so sometimes I'm able to relate to them as well because when I went to college for computer science, right? I was working full time and going to school full time. So I know that constraint of trying to put things in, but you have to work and deal with life and stuff like that. So like, that's why I'm able to relate to night cohort so much. because I've been in a place similar to them as far as like having a huge workload and then coming to work, coming to learn something, and then still getting it done. You know, versus like day cohort, what I was going through. I was very blessed in my situation. You know, I was able to stay home with parents. I was able to go to NSS.
And it was smooth, right?
It was smooth. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't have to have those struggles, and that's a privilege sometimes. Is going to day cohort and not having to worry about work. You're just worrying about straight up NSS.
Yeah, and me, when I went to NSS, I was evening time.
Yeah.
E9, what up, y'all? But yeah, it was
C31 for everyone.
yeah, they cool too. They cool. But now, you know, like having to work and then do the schoolwork, at times it got a little bit difficult. Because, like, you know, you might be at work, like, and even like the free time was when I could just really work on something at work. But like times where it's like really busy, couldn't work on something, and you might have a project due that Monday, and it's like, damn, I need to just do a little bit
It builds
more.
character though.
It do, and a lot of stress. But yeah, definitely character though, definitely character.
But it also teaches you time management, right?
Oh, it definitely taught me that.
And that's the big, I feel like anyone that goes through NSS, you not only learn, you know, curriculum, what you need to learn, that skill, but you also learn about yourself. You learn life skills too, like.
I learned to be real with myself real quick.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, it's so crazy. I had to tell my current cohort, because they're in their simulated work environment, that like, you not only learn how to create a server, you know, or ABI, you not only learn that, but you learn about yourself.
Yeah.
You learn how you deal with stress. You learn how you deal with someone not working in the group, right? You learn what that looks like to you. Are you like one of those micromanaging people? Are you one of those, you know, stressed so much? Are you one of those that lay back, like, hey, let them do themselves? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so many things that you learn about yourself. And I learned about myself when I went through NSS. I was very shy before going to NSS. And you know the personality test that they take?
Yeah, the what was it called? Can't remember.
I can't remember either, but you know what I'm saying. They took the personality test. So I was an introvert.
Really?
Yeah.
Introvert.
I know, right?
I'm like, okay.
Right. So I was an introvert when I went into NSS, and then complete 180 when I got out.
Wow.
Extrovert. Like, where was this person at this entire time?
Do you feel the change?
I do.
You do?
I do. Like, it's so crazy because even though I'm very good with like speaking to people, talking, engaging and stuff like that, when I went to college, sure, I had a really great communications class because that pulled me out of my shell. But prior to that, I think like I had always been very like introverted, and nothing made me pull out. Maybe I just didn't have, you know, the setting that I needed, that environment that I needed. Because like in high school, I was sure, you know, young whippersnapper. And then like when I moved down here to Tennessee, I kind of like went into a shell. And then that's why I was like introverted, and then.
So it's like the new environment.
Yeah, it was a very new environment. I had to figure out who I was, who this new Mika was. And then went to NSS, like, just blossomed from there, which is so wild. I'm telling you, NSS is more than just, you know, getting a web degree. It's learning yourself. How do you feel?
Wow.
Don't you feel that you've changed?
No, I'm just like, I do, okay.
In a good way, though, in like some ways, some, you know, pieces of you that have like expanded.
I feel like on a more, I'm gonna say, I guess working in groups, I've changed because usually I kind of like sit back or I kind of do my own thing.
Yeah.
But I think with NSS, it taught me how to just like honestly work with another person.
Yeah.
And sometimes you cannot be that person that falls back because you might have somebody who fall back more than you. So now you got to be like,
you got to show up.
Yeah, it's like, dang, okay, he ain't gonna do it. So hey, man, you know, like you got to talk to him and talk to the group. And sometimes they'll like, because it's how they put you in groups actually.
Yeah.
They'll put you in groups that they know you can mesh well with. And sometimes they put you in groups that they know you can't mesh well with.
We do that.
So yeah, and I'm like, I started peeping game at first. I was like, this group ain't like my last group. So I was just like, okay, I gotta, be the one to step up and do the things. Or you might have a group that y'all exactly the same and y'all might just work well.
Yeah.
So I started knowing those changes, and I think that's what helped me become a better developer as far as like working with someone else.
It's so wild that like, as an instructor, I see that not a lot of people know how to work in groups. And I feel like it's, what do you do with your coworkers? Like, are y'all
work with them?
You know what I'm saying?
Same thing.
It's, I have to think that like, not everybody works in a group setting. And so for me, like I had always known how to, like I've been working in groups for a while.
Right.
Sure, I needed to learn a lot more about how, it was more like me, how do I learn how to deal with different people in a group? And that's what a lot of people are starting to learn too. And because I was like, did y'all were y'all not in a group at all? You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I had a group that was, it was one group. Actually, it wasn't even my group. It was actually Jarecia's group. She was working with this guy who, he was actually a good engineer, like, well, in his group, but he was just absent. He would never show up. One day he told them that his squirrel died, so he couldn't come to class.
I'm not even gonna ask.
Yeah, I ain't even gonna put his name out there, but you know what I'm saying? And if you do see this, I'm just keeping it real, bro. But he was just like absent, but he was a good engineer, but he just wasn't, I guess he just wasn't good for them because like, I think he probably didn't necessarily like the team, honestly, because I'm gonna keep it real. He didn't look like the type that works well with diverse groups.
That sounds like his problem.
And exactly. And it's like, it sucks that it was, because I know you can't do that in the job, but you're gonna do this at the boot camp where you're gonna probably be kind of absent and not show up too much for the group. And sometimes he even try to take the lead because he was like the only guy. Maybe he felt like, he probably felt like he was better than them as well.
Yeah.
And he tried to take the lead and like he'll code the project and not even ask them their input in it.
Cowboy coder.
That's what he was.
It's so wild though people don't understand that like when you get into NSS, it's a huge networking pool.
Yes.
But Nashville is small.
Smaller than you, like it's very small.
The developer community may seem big, but it's small too.
Yeah.
Like the fact that you're acting like that in a group, your friends are the people that you work with in your cohort are probably going to be the ones that help you get a job sometimes.
And that's what they were saying that in a sense, like usually you could depend on people.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And so a lot of people don't realize that. And then they don't even realize instructors, they ask us, who do we think is really good? I've had like my past 6 cohorts, I've had at least 3 people come to me and ask about the next cohort. Hey, who do you recommend for this job? Y'all playing me, but I'm the one that's going to help you get a job by word of mouth on how you act, how you're doing things. If you're not doing anything, I'm not sending a name. Not your name. So like it's a very wild thing that NSS has done in the human interaction.
Okay. Yeah, I can for one say like I had a great experience at NSS. And this is why I asked this question that I'm about to ask now. That okay, so there's been a lot of people saying, like some boot camps are scams. There's actually one boot camp that I'm not going to name.
I probably already know.
Yeah, they're going through a big deal like they scammed you. They're using Udemy courses, and you don't get the actual, like help outside the course. Like once you're done, they can give you recognition, but their name doesn't necessarily hold weight.
Yeah.
So just to ask you, and I already know the answer, do you feel like you got scammed at NSS?
I'm gonna tell you one thing. I didn't have to pay for NSS. So my answer is in a person who didn't have to pay for NSS way. If I would have paid for it, I still would have been happy.
Right.
I think people who think it's a scam are the people that didn't do the work. Right? Like they automatically thought that NSS was supposed to automatically give them a job.
Right.
No, they give you the tools on how to get a job. You have to be putting in that other work
Right.
to get the job. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Gotta
they're
show up
showing
and
you
do it.
how to network, and you have to be willing to go out there and say, hey, I'm doing this, that, and the third. I'm trying to connect with this person. Here's my resume. I need to talk to this recruiter. You have to be willing to do the work as well. And a lot of people just solely go off the NSS name, and then they don't have a job. Right? They're not working hard enough. Sure, even if you didn't go to NSS, you still would be out there grinding, trying to find a job, right? Still trying to network. Some people still don't even know the art of networking.
Right.
So, it's not technically, it's not NSS fault at all.
I feel for how I feel about NSS, it wasn't a scam. I learned a lot. I had some pretty good instructors.
Yeah.
Sometimes they were kind of like, I need y'all more help, but I understand we had like 25 people or 30. We started off with 30. We ended with 19 because people drop. But we still had people they need to work with, and I also felt like the only thing is like my first job, I didn't get it from anywhere from NSS. I got it from an outside source.
On how to do the job?
Or how to get my first job. Mm-hmm. Yeah, shout out to Josh Mundy at Pivot Tech. He helped me out.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah. And I remember I'm coming up for you for an interview next too. But he helped me out, because I was and I felt like it was more so on me because I was really hustling and trying to get things done. And I really feel like I didn't need a job in the first year anyway because I was really trying to build the black codes. Mm-hmm. But once I found out I had a child coming on the way, I was like,
you need to ramp up things.
Yeah, get a job, you know what I'm saying? So, when it came to that, I think he helped me because I know with NSS, they check up on you, mm-hmm. but I didn't know how much they were putting emphasis on, hey, this developer or this engineer on our, that graduated from us is looking for a job. I didn't know how they were doing that part. Mm. But, if they were working on it and people just wasn't looking for me, I understand it.
Yeah.
But when Josh Mundy said, hey, you looking for a job? I got a job within a few weeks. Yeah. So it was just I just didn't know what was going on there. But I have heard people who got a job with somebody is it the counselor job? I can't remember what it is. The person that's always checking on your resume.
Oh yeah, the career people.
Career people, yeah. They got jobs through them. I remember Quinn, he got a job. I think Dylan, I'm not 100% sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, she actually got a job from somebody else, but her situation was quite different. Okay. But I do think, I think maybe black students of NSS probably should get a boost with getting these jobs. Yeah. I will definitely say that. Mm-hmm. But honestly, I think what they do is they just set you up and hey, is your resume done? Is your LinkedIn done? They put you out to people during demo day and you go from there. Yeah,
and you need so much more.
I think that's great feedback to where you can hit them up and be I think y'all should do this, and they receive that and go from there. Right. But maybe that's something that Black Codes can do, help, be an extension of such in a way that we help them find jobs. We put them in places of hey, this is a job, we know this person and third.
Hey, we got something.
Hey, thoughts.
Hey, Jamaica, I want to talk to you more. We might have to have a part 2.
Hey.
My boy Kenny Mac telling us to wrap it up. Okay. So we're going to have to wrap it up.
Sorry, Kenny.
Yeah, okay. But, are there any social media links you want to give out to the people?
You can hit me up on my LinkedIn, Jamaica Eccles. You can hit me up on my IG, Lace Meek Up.
Hey.
And yeah, that's all. That's all I got right now.
Yep. That's understandable.
Boundaries.
I understand. Well, y'all, also we want to thank Build Technologies again for letting us use the establishment. Yeah, you guys rock. And
Social media.
social medias, yeah. YouTube, Black Codes Podcast. Don't forget to see us on there. Instagram, the Black Codes Org, and LinkedIn, the Black
Yeah.
Codes Org.
It's the Black Codes.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
the Black Codes.
If you put it in, you gonna find it. So yeah. So thank you guys again. Make sure you hit that. Smash that like button and subscribe to us. And like my shirt says, stick to the code.
Ow.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah.